say, not saying that this happened, but I think Tim Cook woke up one day and he randomly scrolled his phone. He's like, "Where's this Not Null podcast?" And then he saw what Bobby said. He's like, "This dude, Bobby, who the hell does he think he is? Yeah, not coming to iPhone." Well, you know what? He just made a few phone calls, and now he's watching. He's going to watch this next. When this comes out, he's like, "Yeah, you see the power I have? You see that? You like that? Like Tim Cook power right there."
Welcome to the Not Null Podcast. I'm just an AI voice. But here are your real hosts, Kevin Doyle, Bobby Davis, Paul Bratslavsky, and Sarah Kimmel.
Hey everyone, welcome to this week's episode of the Not Null Podcast, the tech podcast where we discuss everything from AI to VR and robots to flying cars. I'm Kevin Doyle, and this week I'm joined by Sarah Kimmel, Paul Bratslavsky, and Bobby Davis. Coming up in this week's episode, OpenAI, of course. Let's talk about what's happened so far, what's happening right now, and what we think might happen next. Then we'll talk about RCS, and it is confirmed as coming to the iPhone. After we discussed this last week in the last episode, since then, the news is broken. It's coming to the iPhone. So we'll talk about
and
that.
Bobby said adamantly, it will never happen.
Hey, it's happening. We'll talk about why. And then we'll finish up with our Null, Not Null section where we talk about recommendations, where we recommend that you avoid a product or a service. Before we jump in to what's happening over at OpenAI, let's talk about one of OpenAI's products. Let's talk about ChatGPT real quick. So something came out with ChatGPT, a new feature that has previously been for paid customers, but is now for everybody, and that is the speech on ChatGPT. So if you haven't had a chance to use this yet, it's kind of interesting. So I've been messing with this for a while as a paid customer, and I've been using this to interface with ChatGPT. So basically, you can talk to it, and it talks back in one of 5 different voices. So you can have essentially a conversation with ChatGPT, like a real-time kind of conversation. So what I thought I'd do is I'm gonna start one right here. We have this voice, and I'm gonna ask it a question. So, hey ChatGPT, can you explain why SMS is not secure? Explain it to me in simplistic terms in about 30 seconds.
Sure, SMS, which stands for Short Message Service, isn't very secure for a couple of reasons. First, it's like sending a postcard through the mail. Anyone who handles it can read it. The messages aren't encrypted, meaning they aren't scrambled into a secret code. Second, SMS relies on mobile networks, and these networks can be intercepted or eavesdropped on. So just like a postcard, your SMS could be read by others if they have the right tools. It's fine for casual chats, but not for sharing sensitive information.
There you go. And I could continue that conversation with her if I wanted to. So I think it's pretty good. I think the voice is good. The delay is really good too. It's actually very fast. It takes, and generally if you start having you start conversing with it, it's a second or so between from when you hit send and it coming back, which is better than ChatGPT is normally at generating text. It's kind of interesting. I think it's kind of doing it on the fly. As it's generating it, it's also reading it before it's generated the whole thing, which is great. It's great for interaction. I can ask you guys whether you've used this or not, but firstly, I want to ask you. So I chose the one of 5 voices there. It's called Sky. Did the voice remind anybody of anything?
Other than it sounds exactly like Scarlett Johansson.
Other than it is exactly Scarlett Johansson.
I want the Black Widow in my ear all the time.
Yeah.
Right. So hold on. Let me just ask her something again. Hold on. Hey, are you based on the voice of Scarlett Johansson?
You can't answer that question.
Yeah.
It's like wants to keep it.
Are you based on the voice of Scarlett Johansson? I think I broke it.
I think
here's the thing.
It's like, I can't answer that question.
Legally not allowed.
Well, it will actually, I tried it earlier. It'll actually tell you no, it is not. It says any similarity is just pure coincidence. I'm calling BS. I don't buy that for a second. She has such a unique voice, and it's so close to her. Plus, her, like what the movie is her voice in that movie. It's called Sky. is the name on the thing. Like, I have a hard time believing that it's not based on her or trained on her voice.
Yeah,
Just a pure coincidence.
It's just a pure. I would have a hard time believing that as well. And that was the one thing that shocked me the most when you were playing that, is how well it spoke. Like, I'm used to AI voices being those stupid, like, TikTok AI voices that are just the worst. And that, like, sounds like something you could have a conversation with. Like, I couldn't listen to the TikTok AI voice for more than like a second.
No, it converses very well. It's good. It's very good.
Speaking of coincidences, I didn't actually try ChatGPT, but I am seeing somebody, and it's weird that her name is also Sky, and she's also based on Scarlett Johansson's voice, and helps me to do tasks around my house. I mean, really good, really good.
Weird coincidence.
That's a coincidence.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. I just have to remind myself that not to take my iPhone to the bathtub. Just saying.
Anyway, the fact that this is open to everybody
know.
now is great. It's super interesting. I think it's a great way to interact with ChatGPT, even on a phone. It's a good experience.
I think that's really awesome. I really like it. And then you get the transcript of the conversation if you need it for whatever reason. It's pretty nice. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I love it.
Yeah, I have not tried it. Like I said, like, the voice shocked me when you played it just now, because I'm like, oh, that, because I'm expecting the TikTok AI voice, and so I'm like, I have no interest. But that, like, what you just did, I'm like, I might be down with that.
Yeah. It definitely brings you into it more because it just feels more realistic. It doesn't feel super fake. It obviously has those. It has those weird audio glitches sometimes. It definitely does that kind of stuff. It has the little stutter in the odd word here and there as it, like, comes back. And it can go, if you don't limit it, it generally just out of the box, it goes kind of long. If I'd have just asked it to tell me about SMS and why it's insecure, it would have gone on for 2 minutes talking about all this different stuff. And it generally, it ends its answers with a prompt too, which is great, because it'll say, hey, I hear you asked about that. You interested in, like, other forms of security? And then it'll try and continue on the conversation. Really tries to converse.
Interesting.
I'm wondering, the next drama, is it going to be Carlos suing OpenAI for the use of her voice?
Either she doesn't know, or she signed on, or I have no idea. Because
it's only been out for a day. So I would imagine that 100 million people using this, someone in her 6 degrees of Kevin
in
Bacon.
Her camp.
Kevin Bacon probably called her and said, "Is this your voice?"
Right.
Yeah, I mean, how do you prove that? I mean, there's so many, I saw Obama playing Call of Duty. Like, anybody could, like, fake your voice, which is pretty great, by the way. Really
honestly, though, it's a little bit different when the voice is the product. And so then I think she has a point. I mean, she did sue Marvel over streaming rights for Black Widow. So, like,
yeah.
She's played an AI on a phone.
She has.
It's like
That's literally
the character she played.
Yeah.
Except you now have it on your phone. It's not even like a jump.
I know.
Yeah.
Where's Joaquin Phoenix? Somebody check on him.
Yeah. Maybe she did come up with some agreement behind the hood, behind the scenes, like you said, Kevin.
But they won't admit it, and they don't, if you ask it, it just says no. It's pure coincidence.
That's. So I can imagine the lawyer conversation. This is purely by accident, and the lawyer's going to go, "Really, bro?"
Yeah.
Well, they're going to show.
You're going with.
They're going to say, "Show me the training data," aren't they? And that's what it comes down to ultimately.
Yeah.
And
I wonder if I hypothetically were to get a ticket, maybe whatever ticket, and I take this to court, and this is what I just present to talk on my behalf.
Yeah.
Like, how that would work out.
Can it be
Give
your
me
lawyer?
a defense for a speeding ticket.
Hypothetical.
Someone's going to. The judge is going to hate it. You're going to get an extra contempt.
Exactly. Like, Paul, how'd you get arrested? I don't know. My AI ChatGPT lawyer offended the judge.
So those meta AI, though, those are based on, like, actual people, and it says that they are.
Correct.
So it would be interesting to see, like, her response, like, yes, I did this, or no, and I'm going to sue.
Right. And they paid those people a ton of money, millions of dollars for their
I'm
likeness.
And I would imagine Scarlett Johansson's going right to do a voiceover for a movie. There's a rate there.
Right.
And then she probably has, anytime she does a movie, she gets a piece of the action. Mm-hmm. That's what she sued over Black Widow.
Yeah.
I would say that to get Scarlett Johansson in a movie's, what, 30 million base, and then you get a piece of the proceeds somewhere around that range. Imagine for something that's going to be something that will happen for 20 years. We're talking about $100 million for her.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, isn't the person who voices Siri, like, did not sign on for voicing Siri? I feel like I remember a lawsuit about that.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah. And so, like, what I would say is, though, it's earning power. So they copied my voice and I could prove it. They'll say, well, what's your rate for doing voiceovers? Look, I've never done it. They're like, well, here's $20 in an Amazon gift card to call it a day. But I think Scarlett Johansson has a point where she could say, you know what? I get this much for a movie or a voiceover and I get this percentage. So what do you want to do?
Yeah. Give me.
Let's see.
Give me some money.
Can somebody who's still on Twitter, because I don't know if anybody, I'm not, but somebody who still is, can you tweet at ScarJo and ask her if she's the new voice of OpenAI?
I'll do it.
I'm curious if somebody already has.
Probably. I would not be surprised. We can't be the only people who think this, because we can't be. As soon as I heard it, I was like, well, oh, cool. Scarlett Johansson's the voice of ChatGPT. That's amazing. So then I was just like, but is it? It's slightly different because it's obviously AI, but it's close enough for me that it was like instantly recognizable. Okay, let's move on. Let's talk about OpenAI and everything that's happened, that is going to be happening right now as we're speaking, and we think may happen in the future, because this is an ongoing story. So we're kind of late to the game in this, really. A lot of people have done a lot of reporting on this, really, because it's nuts. So I thought I'd put together this little timeline to go over what's happened over the past kind of few days, really. But I started it back on November 6th when we had OpenAI Day, when Sam Altman stood up on stage and they released the GPTs and they released the GPT 4.5 Turbo, and all this cool stuff happened, and it was amazing and it was great. So then 11 days later, over a weekend, I think it was a Friday, right? That we find out that OpenAI board had fired Sam Altman, and President Greg Brockman quit after that happened, and they named a new CEO. Mira Murati was named on the 17th. Then on the 18th, the very next day, we got a notice about why, with some vagueness around it being a breakdown in communication between Sam and the board, and it was not malfeasance, and that was it in an internal memo. And actually, even till today, that's as much as we really know about this. It's kind of strange. We don't really know still why. Like, it's really, there's rumors and things, but we don't really know why. Kind of crazy stuff. Then on the same day, a bunch of employees basically said that they were going to quit. And if this doesn't come back as CEO by the end of the weekend, that's it. They're done. This was just a vocal thing at this point in time. I think they were on X and they were on Threads and they were on wherever saying, hey, I'm going to quit. Then on the 19th, there was discussions and an actual meeting where Sam Altman showed up to OpenAI. He tweeted out a picture of himself with a visitor's badge, which was crazy. And they talked about a possible return to the company. And it was like, okay. Or on that same day, there was also a rumor he was just going to start his own new startup with all the people from OpenAI. Like, okay, talk about a pivot within the same day. There you go. Then on the 20th, Nadella tweeted that he'd hired Sam Altman and Brockman and was basically opening up the doors of Microsoft to anybody from OpenAI who wanted to come and work for them. And they created a new advanced AI research team. Awesome. Get me the t-shirt. Same day, OpenAI then appoints former Twitch boss, Emmett Shear, as an interim CEO, and he pledges to put a probe into Altman's exit and figure out what exactly happened there, which I don't know if that happened, because, again, today we still don't know what happened. So, because he wasn't there quite long enough. By the way, this is the second CEO in like 2 days.
Right.
Just so we're aware of that. But don't worry, there's another one coming.
But wait, there's more.
But wait, there's more. So on the same day, on the 20th, OpenAI staff signed a letter basically that said, hey, I think it was 500 and something of the 700, or 700 out of 750, right, eventually, said, we're all going to leave and we're all going to go to Microsoft unless you replace the board. So last night into this morning, we are on the 22nd right now. So last night, the end of the 21st into the 22nd, the news is that Altman is now back as the CEO, and they have a new board of Brett Taylor, Larry Summers, and Adam D'Angelo, and Brockman's returning as well, and all the staff are back there again, I guess. Like, everybody's like we never actually went anywhere. So we just spent a few days, we went through 3 CEOs, we annoyed Microsoft for some reason. Microsoft had a new advanced AI research team for a day, and then now no longer they do. What a crazy weekend. This is the biggest, like, not just tech news story, but probably one of the biggest news stories of the year. It was all over mainstream media, and they couldn't keep up with it. We couldn't keep up with it as it was happening. So what do you guys think? What's the biggest standout from this?
I have whiplash. That's the biggest standout.
To me, what's interesting is this idea of going back and forth between Microsoft, and the fact that he has the power to do that, and he'll always be able to do that. And that's kind of weird situation to be in. Also, I think I like the conspiracy theories for reasoning why, he was fired. And and I don't think Ilya will ever say why they chose to fire him, which is very interesting that they're keeping it super secret. It'll be cool to know if we ever get the reason, but I don't think we will. But some of the things that people were saying is that he's working with the Saudis to create an AI chip, and that's kind of a big deal. You shouldn't do that. And then, maybe they discovered AGI, maybe and they just get worse and worse and worse. But I think what's also people are talking about is how Ilya was more on the side of being more safe, focused, and not releasing things too soon, where Altman is screw it, let the AI take over the world, whatever type of deal. And it's funny that Microsoft, it's yeah, come to us. We don't care. Come to us. We could take over the world together. But I think, and then another part of people saying is that create all this controversy. So all the big tech companies going to be kind of policed by each other. And so it completely kills any opportunity for others to be able to enter that market because of the just, I don't know. There's just so many. And we'll never know until the truth comes out. But I think the point that I take here is that, Altman could leave and join Microsoft at any time. And he knows that he could do it at any time because there was no consequences for him leaving, right? They took him back. And to me, that, if you have someone who could come and go as they please, the company will never be the same because how fully do you trust that Altman's not going to have his own interests, maybe for this year, next year, and then eventually he'll go to Microsoft. Maybe he'll start his own company. Maybe he will do that, whatever that chips deal with the Saudis. And to me, that just puts a lot of distrust in him, in terms of going to the company. But then at the same time, can you trust corporations? I don't know.
So you think he has too much power now?
Yeah, more. He has definitely way more power now because just think of all the things that he's done and all the knowledge he possesses. He could go anywhere, pretty much, and share whatever. Do you think he's gonna care about non-compete? He's no, and I think his plan is gonna be because he knows he's got a spot at Microsoft, and Microsoft. Here's the thing that I'm very curious about. He left OpenAI. He in theory worked at Microsoft for a day, or at least in the process, then went back, and they didn't reprimand him in any way, and so the idea is hey, you're always welcome here. Whatever you decide to do, it's cool. And the fact that they're the same coin, just two sides, and Microsoft will always win, basically. You know what I mean?
And
he
was pushed away. He didn't leave. He was fired.
Yeah, but I think he was fired, and we'll never know the reason. Some people say he's just very manipulative, he plays on people, he does all the stuff, he's not a trustworthy person, whatever. That could be argued. I don't think anybody in that power you could say is a very trustworthy person. They're always going to do things for the benefactor of either themselves or the shareholders. But the fact that they took him back after he was fired shows how important he is to the company. And he also knows Microsoft will also take him at any time, any point, any company, you know. And so for him, he basically has nothing to lose, like at all. Like, and he's literally like, listen, like if I worked at a restaurant, let's say, and I talked mad crap and I got fired, if I went back to that same restaurant the next day, the owner would be like, get the hell out of here. What are you talking about? What are you doing? Nobody's be like, oh, please come back.
But hold on. But maybe the
George
staff of the
Costanza.
restaurant.
Right.
Right. Maybe the staff of the restaurant signed on and said, we're all going to quit unless Paul comes back. You think they might hire you back then?
Yeah, right. And that's just the power Altman has. That's basically it.
Yeah.
Like, no, I can't be like, who's coming with me? No one's going to go. I'll be like, no, you want to leave.
You're Jerry Maguire, yeah.
All right, Paul. I had, you know, I had
goldfish.
it's funny. I worked at this company a long time ago where I like had a pretty good role. It wasn't a tech company, but I was like, everybody loved me. Everybody's like, yeah, Paul, you can't leave because everybody will leave. And I didn't like walk out, like, because I just decided to leave the industry completely. I didn't walk out. Who's coming with me? Because I knew nobody would. Even if you have like some, so to me, that Altman has this control over people. That means he's like very influential, very charismatic, knows what's up, knows how to play the game, and he literally is playing all the angles. You know what I mean? And it's kind of interesting. And I think it's like like this situation, like I know I'm at like doom meter for AI is at 95 already. Like this is like 99.9, just showing this distrust and this kind of like back and forth at that high of a level just basically shows me that all these companies, and it's going to be like the big tech giants, they're just going to relentlessly see who could outcompete each other without any concern for like anything, you know. And I think it's going to be like AI wars, and like I think they're really batting on the fact that AI will change the world, which it will, to like I don't know. I have these conspiracy theories. They're looking to build this crazy utopia where all the people live on the space station above Earth, and Matt Damon has to come and save us.
Right. You've watched too many movies. Yeah, so how do you think Nadella is today?
Let me talk about that a little bit. Like, here's what I think really happened, in my opinion. Like, I think this guy gives this great presentation. Was it the 17th?
No, it was the 6th. He gave it on.
He gave his Dev Day or whatever. And Ilya, and I think when you look at corporate breakups, it always comes down to a couple things: ego and money. And it's always someone's ego got hurt, or there was someone wasn't paid enough, or something like that. It's ego and money. And I think this guy is the star of the research team. When he saw him give that demo and everyone's chanting up and down and Sam Altman's a genius and he's this guy and he has all these friends, he's running around the world doing chip deals, and he's over here trying to bid AGI, and he's like, I did all that. And I don't think he liked that, and he wanted to be more popular. What he underestimated was when a corporation invests $49 billion in a company and they have a whole week of a presentation about .NET and AI and Microsoft Ignite and all these people coming out here, and you're going to have a co-pilot everywhere. And you don't tell this guy, oh, by the way, your buddy, we just fired him.
Yeah.
And I think that what he showed them, I think what Nadella really did was he says, oh, you think you can do that? You think the board has power? You three are going to dictate with Microsoft. Nah, I'll just hire this guy and I'll take every single person that works at OpenAI. I'll pay them more money than you can ever do it, and I'll take it. What happened is that even when they got the people, they knew it would take another 2 years to recover from this, to retrain all the models, to do it in the up and up. And so it was just a power play, and the OpenAI board said, okay, we quit. Like, this company's not going to exist after next week, because they also, the money they paid was also Azure credits. And they could literally turn OpenAI off, and they have nowhere to go. And every single investor there was supposedly this week too, they were going to raise $90 billion additional dollars into OpenAI. Wow. They fire this guy and his friend, and like all of that went away. I guarantee you, the Mira also wasn't told she was going to be the CIO until she walks in. Hey, by the way, you know, we killed the guy. Now you're president, you know, and that's what it sounded like. And I think that what you're seeing is Microsoft made way too much money invested in this, and you embarrass the CEO on a national or worldwide level. You can't do that.
Yeah.
Money will always win in these companies. And so that's why Altman's back. It's the quickest way for Microsoft to continue what they're doing, to have all their co-pilots running.
He did confirm, Nadella did confirm, he wasn't told about this, but 15 minutes before everybody
else
was.
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably on Twitter.
Can't do that. And the big VCs found out on Twitter.
Right.
So like Sequoia Capital and all these other people that are invested in it, and they're like, what? Like you have to communicate to those people. And that's why I'm shocked that the one guy that was on the board is still there. And I would bet Ilya will be there maybe 3 months.
What do you think? You think his days are numbered?
His days are numbered.
What's crazy how much power Microsoft has. And at this point, it's like they basically could dictate what they want.
Well, they own half the company. They should have some say into this, I'm really shocked that they don't have a Microsoft employee as a board member on this company at this point.
Yeah.
But
I bet they will now. Yeah.
I think they will, because don't forget, I mean, during that interview, there was an interview on the 20th that Nadella gave with Kara Swisher, and in that meeting, in that interview, he did, one of my big takeaways from it was he did say this will never happen again. It was and it was very forceful, and it's like, how do you do that? And maybe having somebody on the board is a way to make sure this does not happen again.
And what we can say, like or love Microsoft, think they're going to take over the word or whatever. Of the three big guys that are running these companies, Nadella is the one that's the most pro guy out there on the planet. He's not Elon. He doesn't say things like that. And so when you see it and he says that, you're like, okay, he's either going to burn my house down or like, I got to play ball here. Like, I mean, this is serious.
He's not joking about it. It's not for a meme.
It's $50 billion. And what they think is it's probably more than that, more like $1 trillion to them, when they're going to roll out Azure and all these co-pilots in every product they have. It's a big deal. And then you embarrassed him on a national stage. I just don't think you do that. I think that it's amazing that the one board member that brought back is still there. And Ilya's sitting there saying, I didn't mean to do this. My bad. Sorry. He doesn't deserve to run the company at this point when you don't think about other people in this way or what you're going to do. And I get it. There's this conspiracy theory that he's discovered AGI and now Sam's going to run out and give it to everyone and the world's going to end. And I think if that was the case, when they fired him, they should have said that. They said, we have AGI. We don't want to release it to the world. Our mission is different and we've got to make sure this is safe. But they didn't say that. They just said, Sam lied about whatever, Here's
the thing, like AGI to me, like sounds like such a huge big deal. It's like world changing that if people don't get fired, other things happen to them. So to me, like, I'm like, you know what? It's probably not true. Like if he's able to talk on right now and tweet, like he's okay. That means there's no AGI because like I figured like if something happens like that, it would be like the old school, like, oh, we don't know what happened. He fell out the 10th story window and just landed.
Don't jinx the guy, Paul. This story, like I said, might not be over yet.
That's true.
Listen,
if that happens, we all know AGI exists and it's going to be the end of the world anyway. So you know what? Like, yeah, you're right though. I should probably like take it easy. But the plus side of this is like, hey, are we all having at least some stocks in Microsoft? At least, I do. Are we all a little bit invested?
Well, their stock increased for sure.
Yes.
Oh, on the 20th, it like went up. It was great because it was great. On the 20th, it was like, oh yeah, okay, this is good because Microsoft had this new advanced AI research team. Which, by the way, we need to make advanced AI research team T-shirts because that team literally existed for a day. Talk about collector's item much. Like,
did they even have time to make the shirts?
No, they didn't.
We can have the T-shirt that says "I was on the advanced AI."
Exactly. Yeah.
And all I got was this T-shirt.
All I got was this T-shirt. It's kind of crazy. Yeah, there's a bunch of other things here too. Then there's also, so I don't know if you noticed or anybody read about this, but the new board, which is totally different minus one guy, but Brett Taylor. Did anybody recognize that name or read about that guy? He was one of the people he was the chair of the board when they sold Twitter to Elon Musk. So he's not exactly the most liked guy, I guess. He's one of the reasons that Twitter is now the mess that it is, which, funnily enough, we're not talking about this week. And I love that we're not talking about it because there's so much stuff going on over there, but who wants to talk about that horrible stuff? We're here talking about much more fun OpenAI and ChatGPT stuff.
But the weird thing before all this too is the like structure of their corporation was so like scawampus. I don't know. That's the
janky
word. Yeah, janky. That's a great word. There you go. And so I wonder if all of this shakeup is going to allow them to like restructure all of that as well.
It's going to allow them because Microsoft's going to force them to have the better structures. What's going to happen? And that's what's happening here. Like you said, it's never happening again. Like, and so I believe him.
Yeah, there's a nonprofit. I imagine that'll get dissolved. It'll go for a for-profit company, which is going to be 49%, if not 100% owned by Microsoft before this can happen again. They'll restructure the board. Microsoft have a voice on this board. These people that are on the board are there for today.
Right.
I promise.
I think we see more changes. Yeah, I agree.
More changes is coming. And if Microsoft doesn't get on that board, Sam Altman could very likely be back in the advanced AI. They bring the t-shirts back out, and then, but he'll tell them this time we're not going back. This is over.
Yeah.
And
I wonder if like that, the 700 employees, I know they were threatening it before he had the offer from Microsoft, but with that backing, that's like an easy sell. Like, I'm at a restaurant and I'm like, who's with me? Like, okay, well, where are you going? It's like Jerry Maguire, right? But if I am like saying, hey, I'm heading to Microsoft, who's coming? Like, that's a totally different ball game.
There was some excited members there, is my guess.
Right.
While I do understand there's a lot of people who are there who are all in for the fact that it's open source and non-profit and all that stuff, I get it. I guarantee you there were some people there that's like, wow, I'm going to go to Microsoft now. This is life-changing. Because I guarantee you they were going to make life-changing money at Microsoft.
Life-changing money, for sure. If you're on the ground floor of that thing, it's worth $1 trillion as a separate operating business unit. The other thing people underestimate is Sam went out, when he got fired, I guarantee you, every VC firm in Silicon Valley called him. Every single one. It's like, what's your next thing, bro?
Yeah.
You and Greg? Okay.
We're ready to invest.
Can we sign you right now? I mean, that's what it was, because they knew it's about the cachet that he had. And it's never, ever about the technology or the code. It's always about the guy running the company and can he do this? And I think that's what Ilya underestimated. Like, he's the rock star of this thing. You're the technician. It's going to be that way. Get over it.
Yeah.
And get a haircut. I mean,
well, as long as we're like, bashing on people, Sam, can you put some capital letters in your tweet? That would be just great.
He hasn't got time for that stuff.
Oh my gosh. I'm like, dude, you're a grown adult. Just use the shift. It's not that hard. It's right by your pinky. Just use that shift button.
He should.
It does make me wonder, was he on a keyboard or was he on a phone? Because on a phone, it auto.
Yeah, he's probably on the phone. And he went out of his way. He went out of his way. He's on the phone. He went out of his way to do everything lowercase. Because I write stuff in lowercase because of that, just to upset people. And so, you have to hit shift to make it lowercase or whatever the phone thing is. So you want to. Speaking of which,
spoiler.
Quick. So I guess they're not starting their advanced OpenAI team then.
Well, we don't know. I mean, I don't know. No, I guess not. I guess it's without that move of the staff and Altman and the staff there. I guess no. I guess it doesn't exist anymore. It existed for a day, and
we should make a T-shirt for sure. You know what's interesting? That domain name exists, and no one bought it.
Oh. You better grab
that. I did buy it. So if we create OpenAI advanced AI, team T-shirts, we got the domain for the T-shirts.
Okay, that'll be my my job over the holiday here is to design
advanced AI team.
I think we should put it up.
Yeah, and I'll have to make a quick website.
We'll throw up a Shopify site.
Yeah, exactly. Perfect. There'll be beautiful advanced AI team. That never happened.
I love it.
You have the dates like November 20th to
exactly.
November.
It's November 20 to November 20.
Yes, nice. Exactly. There you go. That's a good T-shirt right there.
That's great. That's awesome. Do that. It's such a deep cut too. Like, if you see it next year, it's such a deep cut. It's.
Well, it is like a few months or definitely years outside of this, we'll be like, "What was that joke again? Why is that? Why is that even funny?"
Here's what I was going to say.
You know. I mean, that would be the classic thing.
Right. The spoiler alert is that Sam Altman uses a flip phone and has T9 texting. So that's why it was all lowercase.
Could be. It could be. It took him like 20 minutes to type that out.
Yeah.
So he's a green bubble guy. Is that what you're saying?
Right. Absolutely.
All right.
Which is a great transition
Good
into our next story. Let's talk about green bubbles. We spent a whole section last week talking about green bubbles. And right after we put out, right after we recorded our podcast on the Wednesday, on the Thursday, after us saying that they wouldn't ever do this, Bobby saying they wouldn't ever, Sarah
Never
saying, well,
happened.
EU's going to make them. Well, they've now somewhere in the middle. They've said they're going to support RCS as of next year. So RCS, Rich Communication Services, which is basically, if you don't know, it's kind of a replacement for SMS or MMS. It's just a better version of that, which allows more features. You get like
Scarlett
typing
Johansson
indicators.
already told us.
Exactly. You get typing indicators and read receipts. You can do group chats, video call, high resolution, video and photo, file sharing, all the good stuff that you're used to having on like iMessage and that kind of stuff. It will also work on this, but it's a different protocol, right? So they're going to introduce this starting next year, they've said, and it's going to be added to iPhones. However, the big question everybody had, so at the introduction of this, will they now change the color of the bubble?
They should not.
From green
They're
to
not.
blue.
Oh,
and
from
they
green to
will
blue.
not.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, they should just keep blue everything.
No,
they're not going to,
do
though, of
that.
course, because they're elitist. Like
They are not.
I'm just gonna
to.
say, not saying that this happened, but I think Tim Cook woke up one day and he randomly scrolled his phone. He's like, "Where's this not Null podcast?" And then he saw what Bobby said. He's like, "This dude Bobby, who the hell does he think he is? Yeah, not coming to iPhone." Well, you know what? He just made a few phone calls, and now he's watching. He's gonna watch this next. You know, when this comes out, he's like, "Yeah, you see the power I have? You see that? You like that?
Yeah.
You know, like
See?
Tim Cook power right there. You know, you made
Yeah,
this
so
comment.
Tim
and I
Cook
was
call
like,
to my house was the thing that was threatening.
Yeah.
You know? Oh, sorry, Tim. Yeah.
So what do we think? Good or bad? What's the overall consensus on this? What do you think? I know you have an opinion, Sarah.
Of course I have an opinion.
Go for it.
Well, so the green bubble thing, I don't care. And I think that nobody's going to care. The only reason people care about the green bubbles is because it breaks their chat or whatever. And
agreed.
so if it's not breaking anything, no one's going to care about the color.
It was never about the color, really, was it?
Right.
Outside of the things with kids that are the pressure that they outside of that, which we talked about last week, it was never about the bubble color.
I don't
No,
know.
for
I
sure.
don't know. I don't know. When
But
I see green, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? I literally
wants
like
That's
rage.
a Paul.
It's like a
That's
micro
a you problem.
transaction.
That's
every
a
time,
you problem.
Every time there's a green bubble, it's like I'm like, who do I call to get you canceled for texting me from what? No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. I don't care. I don't care.
My favorite. There's a forum for a local university that my friend is a member of that I say is like the source of all truth. Like for Utah, it's just the source of all truth. And this is a quote from somebody on this forum, and I love it. It says, "I've used Android for years. My family members with iPhones whine nonstop that I need to switch to improve their texting experience. I just tell them that if the only reason for me to switch is to make their phone usable, then the problem is with their phone and not with mine. I honestly don't care what anyone else's phone experience is. I just know that mine works fine for what I wanted to use it for." And I think that's the whole point is a lot of these news articles are like, "Oh, Android users can stop whining about like green bubbles." And I'm like, we're really not the ones whining about the green bubbles. We're the ones just living our lives. And it's the iPhone users whining about green bubbles. But yeah, I think this is amazing. This was the funniest thing is I am driving to Disneyland with my son in the car. My son is 14 years old. And I am driving on the freeway from our Airbnb to Disneyland. And he's like, "Oh, Apple's going to add RCS." And I'm like, "Shut up. That's not a thing, right? No. Are you serious?" And he's like, "Yeah, no, it's right here." And I'm like, is it a legitimate news source? Like, I'm totally questioning my 14-year-old on this. Like, no, there's no way that this is a thing. It's like, as soon as I park at Disneyland, like he shows me and I'm like, oh my gosh, like hell has specifically frozen over and Apple is doing something about RCS. And I was like, shooketh.
Cats and dogs living together.
It's crazy.
I
Up
like
is
the
down,
fact that they're keeping
sideways
it.
is right.
I like the fact that they're keeping it green and blue. I really do. I like this. Even though I'm an Android user and people rolled their eyes in the last time we talked about this, but I don't think Apple should have to support another protocol just because it's not fashionable, and they can put whatever color they want. And if you're being pressured into it, we need to teach our kids like the last time, like, grow up, man. It's a color, man.
I will say from an iPhone user's perspective, I want them to be green and blue. And the reason I want them to be green and blue right now is because if I want to understand how secure my message is, I want to know if it's iMessage to iMessage, which is 100% end-to-end encryption, 100% secure. Mm-hmm. If it's going over RCS at the moment, it is not 100% secure. While it's better than SMS, it's still not secure like iMessage to iMessages. And I want to know that. I want to know on the off chance that, just that it could be intercepted. I mean, right? Or maybe I'm using, right now, think about like two-factor authentication using SMS, right? It's not the best. Those codes can definitely be intercepted, right? So the fact that it's going across RCS makes that no better. So I also want to know when I'm getting those green bubbles that is a potential sticking point. It is a potential like vector that somebody could attack you. While most people maybe don't think about that, I think there are people that do, and I would just want to know. You have to differentiate one way or the other, whether it's going across RCS or iMessage, and the color is just the way that it differentiates it. I don't care. I'm fine with that. It doesn't bother me.
Yeah, that's a very valid argument. I mean, slightly different than my use case. I was going to a restaurant and I only had like 5 seats available, so I sent a group text, and everything that's green, I was like, I won't invite them. It's fine.
Well, now you'll get some of those features in your group text. Now you'll get like those typing indicators and read receipts and all that stuff. So those features will come into iMessage now, and it won't be such a bad experience for an iPhone user. Because don't forget, they were moaning about green bubbles because it was moaning about you're breaking my group chat is what's really happening, right? It's like I'm in a group chat and now the read receipts don't work for everybody because there's one Android phone out of 50 iPhones, right? It's ruining the entire experience for every iPhone user. That's why iPhone users were complaining. This should go away now, I would hope, with this coming in.
Yeah, and I think, and like I said, it was never about the bubbles. It's just about the breaking of things. And I don't mind them having special features if it is iMessage to iMessage. Like, you can have your stupid games and whatever, but just don't make the experience texting with an Android user so bad that it causes these issues. Like, have your special features, fine, but also let's fix the Android texting.
So, Kevin, can I ask you a question? And just, I didn't know this, but like RCS to iMessage isn't going to be encrypted end to end? Because I know RCS to RCS is.
Well, it's not. It only is on. No. It's only encrypted on certain on Google's. So Google added a wrapper on top of RCS that adds encryption. That is not the RCS that Apple is going to be adopting. The RCS that Apple is going to be adopting is the worldwide global version, which is not end-to-end encryption.
Okay.
So,
why not?
Well, it's because it's not a standard. They're adopting a standard. This is what people have pestered them for.
Right.
Hey, give us the standard. We're giving you the standard now. This is what we're not going to take Google's version of it. We're taking the standardized version of it, which does not include end-to-end encryption. So
that makes sense.
Back to Discord.
I was with you, though. I thought it was going to be encrypted.
That's messed up, though. That's because they're doing it on purpose. It's like they're like, if you see a green bubble, it's probably a scammer because it's unencrypted. Grandma, I can't talk to you right now because Apple says you're a scammer because this is not secure protocol.
Is this really, Grandma?
Yeah, is this really you?
I don't know.
What are we having for dinner today?
Nobody ever gets scammed on WhatsApp. I mean, seriously.
WhatsApp? Jesus Christ. Yeah, seriously. It's I only have
end-to-end encrypted.
Listen, I only have really scammers scamming me securely. I'm like, how do you even get the number? How do they even get so many like Bitcoin stuff, so many things? Like, you want the price? I even get like US mail. Like, how do they know that I'm waiting for a delivery? I get like, your package could not be arrived at your house.
Just guess.
Because everybody's always waiting for a delivery.
That's true too. I thought I was special. Damn it.
No.
That
They just guess because I get those when I'm not waiting for a package.
Right.
It's send out 1 million of those, and 10,000 people are waiting for a package.
Someone's
Exactly.
waiting for a package.
Yeah.
I would say 9,900 of those people are waiting for a package.
It's probably true. Yeah. Okay, time of the show where we need to talk about recommendations, our null not null section, where we recommend a product or service, or recommend that you avoid a product or service. I'm going to go first this week because I normally wait till last, but I'm going to go first because I have a null to start off with this week. And my null for this week is the junk accounts that have been popping up on Threads. I'm a Threads user now. I've moved on from Terrible X, and it's made it because the junk accounts have started showing up. So the tech bros are there. The meme lords have showed up. The engagement farmers are there. You look at their posts and it's like, why is everything start with an emoji and has like a list of things? Like, please leave with your listicle articles. The porn accounts have showed up. Like, it's just they've started. But my not know for this week is the block and mute features on Threads, because they are really, really good. It took me started seeing these things, and it took me just blocking a few here and there, and now I just don't see them anymore.
Nice.
It's really, really good. And one thing that I understand is the block feature on Threads too, which I saw somebody do it in real time, was they blocked somebody, it'll also block any other accounts they also own. So it's great. So you basically blocking a person. So these people that are setting up multiple like troll accounts just so they can hit like one thing, and they can hit like what happened last week was the White House and the president joined Threads. Again, you've made it when a certain group of people are joining it. So they joined Threads. So the app POTUS now is Biden at the moment, but I'm guessing they'll, just like they did with X, they'll pass it on to whoever the president is, which is great. That means it's made it. But in the comments for that is obviously just a bunch of trolls, right? Anytime he posts anything, it's just a bunch of trolls. Well, I saw a video of somebody real time blocking one of those, and it blocked 3 different post responses to that just by blocking one. I was like, oh, that's genius. That's very, very smart. So you can stop trolls. And my feed got cleaned up really quick. So yeah, that's my not null for this week.
Maybe I should start using
Who's next? Yeah, jump on, Paul.
I mean, yeah. I just don't. I've been doing antisocial for like a long time, like just everywhere. So it's not the platform. It's just
it's you.
It's me exactly. And man,
it's not you.
And literally, I have Twitter because of work. It's literally just because of that. I can't even I always have an opinion because people ask for it all the time on Twitter, and I can't because I'm like, that's just me, like professional. It's so terrible, so terrible.
Okay, so who wants to give their null not null next?
Well, speaking of trolls and spam accounts, let's go ahead and go with mine. And it is a subreddit that I am currently obsessed with because it's hilarious. The subreddit is Scam Bait.
Oh, I think I've seen this one.
It's not always safe for work. Like, there can be some scandalous.
Okay, so how we
can't show that on the screen.
You should be fine.
You should be fine, except this one post here doesn't pop up. You could always edit it.
It usually starts out the same. They don't start swearing until.
No, it's r/Scamby, I think.
Okay. Yeah. Because it's a subreddit. Okay. So they always start out innocuous. So like you're never gonna see.
I'm not really gonna scroll too much. That's just.
Well, yeah. I mean, like you can scroll. Like just don't swipe through the pictures. Like.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay.
Like because all of the scams like start out exactly the same. And then they continue on. But like, so these are people who are responding to scammers, and some of them are so funny. Like I was crying laughing the other day because like they started talking to the scammer. It was like immediate. They're like saying the things that they would usually say to them and stuff. And oh my gosh, like when they turn it around like that, or one of them like, hey, can you send me a picture? And they send a picture of like a famous person, and it's like, Debbie Downer is like Rachel Dratch, I'm like, oh, hi, I'm Mary, and they don't even like notice. They just like keep going, and like they'll be in character, so like one guy was talking about like he was acting like he was Spider-Man, he's like, oh, my Uncle Ben, he's not doing too well, and just all of
That's
this
genius.
stuff, like so funny. So if you're bored and you want some entertainment, go check out this subreddit.
This sounds like a good use of AI. This is what really needs to happen.
Yes.
For sure.
Because I don't have time to respond to scammers, just block them, but it would be funny to like lead them and let them waste their time,
Yeah, and that's totally what they do.
But it is fun to respond to that once you catch on that. I mean, obviously, anybody who texts me is a scammer on my phone, especially if it's on WhatsApp. I'm like, it's obviously a scam. And I remember one time I responded with like, "Where's my car, bro? Like, I gave you my car 2 weeks ago. You still haven't returned it. Like, I'm going to call the cops. Like, what are you doing? Like, what do you think?" I thought, it's like they stop responding.
That's amazing. I did see a good one of these where they try and get you to buy gift cards. And it was a boss sending an employee saying like, "Hey, Dave, I'm in a meeting. I'm not going to be out for a while. Can you go to the store real quick and grab $3 $50 like gift cards for Apple? I need them for the company I'm going to this afternoon," or whatever it is.
Right.
And he tries to get him, and the guy knows instantly what's going on. And he just like leads him down this path where he's like, "So could we just get Roblox cards? Will that work?" And he and then he takes pictures of the gift card thing, and he's like, "Look, there are no Apple cards." And he's like, "I'm not using my own money, dude. I'm not doing it." Like, he's like, just give me the credit card details and I'll buy them. Like, he just turns it around on the guy. It was so good.
Here's the
I'm with you, sir. These are fun.
I was going to say, here's the crazy thing with that, because I'm like, who would fall for that? No one would fall. I probably told this story before, but I remember I worked at this company that shall not be named. It's the worst. My first, it's called Versus
social media platform.
It's called Versus Suite. It's called Versus Suite. It's like my first job that I worked because I needed to get my foot in the door as a developer. But we had somebody that worked there. One day he comes up, he's like, "Hey, I got these gift cards that that the owner asked for. Like, do you think I should give it to him now?" I'm like, "Oh God." I'm like, "I want to go home. I don't want to be here right now. I don't want to know how this is gonna play out." I'm like, "Bro, I guess you should just hold on to those gift cards and whatever." Good.
And quit.
Yeah.
Dude.
It's like, hold on. They didn't ask you to give them the code over the text, did they? And written.
Yeah.
I'm
like, "Oh my goodness, my friend. Oh good." And I'm like, "How many days are you gonna last at this company?" Not long. Not long. That was the answer. It was not long. It's like, he literally left that day. Like, he didn't even give the cards. He just left and never came back. And it happened. So,
Oh, that's awesome.
Funny. That's funny. Okay, Bobby, what you got?
So today, I had a very emotional moment this week as a coder, and my mouse broke. And if you've ever coded, this is like something I've been using for 5 years, I think. 5 or 6 years I've used the same mouse.
Wow.
And so I had to go out and find a new mouse. And so now I have the M Master 3 from Logitech.
Oh, I have the same one.
Yeah, it's really cool. What's great about it is there's a couple things in here that's kind of cool. So if you're using a MacBook on Parallels, I'm constantly switching between my Windows view and my Mac view. And I have this device here that I use to do that, a little swipe pad. Swipe pad's also built into the side of this thing right here.
Ooh.
Pretty cool. And then it has a sideways scroll if you've ever coded. I'm getting used to using that. And then you have extra 2 buttons that you can do. But like I do use it quite a bit where I'm scrolling. And then I didn't realize how bad my scroll experience was on my previous mouse I've been using 5 years till I got this one. I'm like, wow, that is a lot better.
This is so much better.
So much better. Now, we'll say my other mouse was smaller and this one's quite a bit bigger. And my side benefit was my hand is hurt all week, but I'm just adjusting to the size of the mouse. But I'm really happy with it.
Yeah, I went from a Magic Mouse, which was the smallest of mice, to this one, which is the biggest of mice. So it was like a big adjustment for me. Yeah. But yeah, I agree. The scroll experience is really good. And it has the 2 scrolling types too. When you push the button, it has the click scroll and the smooth scroll. Nice. I'm click scroll all the time. If I accidentally turn on smooth scroll, I'm like, no, it feels weird. It feels wrong.
Right.
You got to click scroll all the way.
Yeah.
And one of the things they said, you can scroll thousands of lines of code in a second. And I'm like, I would never do that. And the very first time I did it, I had to go to the end of the CSS file. I'm like, oh, I see what they're talking about. that is a lot faster. So it wasn't just all hype or all marketing. It actually is a really good mouse. MX3 Master by Logitech.
It's and they do pitch it towards creatives and towards coders too, right? It's pitched towards both. They have different sales pages for both. I put it from the creative perspective. Yeah, and I like it. It's good. I will say though, I mean, I have pretty clean hands. I think I wash my hands a lot. I use hand sanitizer a lot, but the white one gets kind of messy. Well, I wouldn't even say it's messy. I would say maybe it just gets marks on it. Like it gets a mark like right where you have your finger here and then one on the side. I wish I'd have gotten the black one.
You just have oil on your fingers is going to do it. The other thing I like
and
about
it just
this
changes
mouse
the texture.
Is it doesn't use batteries, and people think, really? And you just plug it in to charge it, which you used to think that's a problem, but it's really nice. I mean, like, you don't have to replace batteries.
You know how often you have to charge it too? I know you haven't had this very long, but like monthly?
Wow.
Maybe?
Yeah.
It lasts a long time, and I never turn mine off, ever. It's always
on. You got
on.
to throw the link up.
Yeah.
I love Logitech. I have a Logitech mouse too, but mine's a teeny one. Like, I mean, not teeny, but
get the pink one.
I've got pink. Yeah. See, I've got, because I'm a chick, you know. Yeah. I've got the pink, and I've got my pink keyboard too. So, you know.
I got my little Apple mouse, and then when I need to game, I have this cheap wired, because I'm like, I need a wired connection, you know, because it's like, but it's Logitech.
Because you're serious about Call of Duty, right? Yeah.
I still suck and get owned all the time. It doesn't matter. It's like my mouse doesn't make a difference. You just suck, but whatever, you know.
I'm telling you, Paul, switch from the Magic Mouse.
To
it's
this.
life-changing.
Nice.
I'm telling you, yeah. There is an adjustment, but you'll realize the Magic Mouse, like, it's so small in your hand. It's weird. Like, it's. I find it like, I don't have giant hands, but even my smaller hands, like, it cramps. It's weird. This is just ergonomically very, very.
Let me ask you a very important question about that mouse before I go in and buy it. Where do you plug in the cable?
Is it waterproof?
Yes, you don't have to turn it upside down and make it useless.
Yeah,
like the Magic Mouse.
Seriously,
which is the worst design Apple thing ever.
Oh my god.
Yeah, you can plug it in and use it.
All right,
and
sold.
But I've never had to. It charges so fast, and you charge it so little. I've never plugged it in and actually used it. I've never had to. You plug it in for 10 minutes, and then you walk away. You go get a drink. You come back, and it's charged to like 80-something%.
Sold.
It's like it's great. It's great.
I
would definitely recommend it.
By default, it can connect to different machines, which is kind of cool. I don't have that problem, but like it can do that.
You have a button on the bottom that allows you to connect to 3 different devices.
Nice.
You just touch the button and it'll switch between the 3.
There's gestures in there. I don't know if Kevin uses these for video editing, but there are some built-in things for video.
Yeah, I have the scroll wheel set up to scroll the timeline in Premiere left and right. Because you said it'll specifically per app too. The software allows you to do per app functions.
That's crazy.
So you can have just in a certain app, you can have a certain function.
So for example, for me, I haven't set this up yet. In Visual Studio, there's a solution window, and then there's your edit window. And I'm constantly pushing that thing and closing it when I'm showing people how to code online. I'm going to set it to a button to like go in and out. That's what I want to do. On that button 4 right there, that's what I want.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and you set it up per app, which is great. There's a piece of software that runs Logi Control or something that does it. You set like, hey, in this app, I want this button to do this function when it's at the.
Here's the coolest part. Like the price is good, especially if you're going from a Magic Mouse. Like you're like, I don't want to buy another Magic Mouse. I could just
same price as a Magic Mouse, right?
Exactly.
$100
extra features. Yeah. It's insane.
Yeah. I would say it's an expensive mouse when people think, $100 for a mouse, but like. If you code or edit video, that is like your tool, and like, just major. I thought I was going to get another mouse, but I went in and said I'm going to try something different this time, and I didn't realize what I've been missing.
It's so funny when people complain about price on anything. I used to have this boss I used to work for. Anytime someone compares about price, he'll be like, "That's just like 2 pizzas, a coffee, and a beer." Like you'll be fine. It's like you'll be fine. Just like anytime. He's like, well, you can't. It's like just stop eating 2 pizzas and you got the thing. Like, and I'm like, I don't know if that's being condescending or what, but
That's funny. So does he equate every purchase to how much pizza it was?
Yeah, it's always pizza beer.
That's 7,000 pizzas.
Yeah,
like
exactly. Pizza beer. Yeah, pizza beer. And I think that's brilliant because if it's 7,000 pizzas, you're like going to consider that purchase, right? And you're like, I'm not going to buy it. But if it's like 2 pizzas and a Coke, you're like, damn, like I am being cheap. I should just buy this $99 thing. So he's really good selling items for $99, $159 just because he's like, listen, it's just like it's a 6-pack of beer and 3 pizzas. And
that's great.
I don't know.
I think it would be good. 7,000 pizzas, you'll lose weight at the same time. It's a no-brainer.
Yeah. Stop being. I'm like, what are you trying to say? I don't even need
you spent
pizzas.
all your money on pizzas. You can't have any other food.
I know. And to me, I feel like it's a subtle way to guilt people into buying stuff. It's like, what does he think I do? Eat pizzas all the time? I'm going to prove him wrong. I'm going to buy this product, even though I'm not going to show up ever again. Brilliant. The guy was brilliant.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Okay, Paul. So what's yours? What you got
I got a not null. I'm preparing to live in a dystopian world. So there's this game called Cyberpunk, and they just like release new patches. They have a new DLC, Phantom Liberty. But here's the best part about it. This is the thing. It's you could play it in VR with this mod. Is it perfect? No, but it's pretty goddamn good. And it's by far the best game ever if you play it in VR. First of all, like I walk around and I'm literally looking around the room, seeing all these little details that you just don't notice on the flat screen, and just exploring the city. It's insane. You do need to have somewhat like a pretty good, decent card and whatever, and you need a controller to play, but it's amazing. And here's one thing, like I realized, like playing a game, when you play it like normally, you do some things or there's like some emotional scene that happens. You're like, yeah, whatever. It's cool. It's whatever. It's a game. I was like literally like, and I don't want to spoil, there's a character there, whatever it's, and like I'm not going to go into too much detail just in case you play the game. And I'm like sitting next to this one particular person and they're like passing away. And I'm like, oh, this feels terrible. Like I feel like this emotion, and you see them like you like they're licking your arms and you're like, oh my God, like I think I might cry. Like it's just the experience in VR just takes you one step closer. And it's just like amazing to me that, and like it's been such an amazing like experience just because it's a city you would never experience in real life, like the cyberpunk, like whatever, that type of world, and to be in it, like yeah, it's not perfect, but it's good enough to a point where you are immersed to a point where it's like when I'm driving, I'm like I don't even drive crazy right off because you're kind of in the car and you're just like, oh, I probably don't want to hit anybody. Like because it's just like so for anybody who's able to, I recommend. And I know it's behind a paywall, and I think like this dude deserves.
I was going to ask, how much is behind the paywall then? Because it says $1 a month.
So I would go for that. So this is what the typical. I support him just monthly because I'm like $10 is nothing, and I'm at a place where I could pay $10.
I mean, it's
and
like half a piece of pizza.
It's half a pizza, like exactly. It's 2 slices of pizza. I'm like, you know what? I lose weight. I'm in, and I want to keep supporting him because the work he's doing is phenomenal. And so I continue. But you could literally just pay $10, download the mod, and then install it. And if there's an update, you just go back, pay another $10, But it's totally worth it. And it's just, to me, it just shows like the future where I want VR to be. You're not, quite there yet because you do need to have a good graphics card. I don't have like the best, but it's top, like it's up there. I have a AMD 79 XT. It's pretty good. And I still get like 60 frames with low running on like low, but it's still worth it. There's just something about being immersed in a quality game, being there. And
so I know you've played Half-Life Alyx. You think this is better?
Oh, 100%. Like Half-Life is a better VR experience in terms of like tactile stuff, how they play the controls, in terms of the lived-in world, because Cyberpunk is open world. This is by far the most amazing like experience. Like I would say Half-Life Alyx is the best VR game. But in terms of mods, playing Cyberpunk, it is by far like the best. Like literally now when I think of like, if I need to upgrade my computer, like what do I need to get? And my standard is like, what would I need to do to have a better playing experience of Cyberpunk in VR? That's literally what it is. And they should make it, like CD Projekt Red should make that as like a feature. I don't think they will because it's not like a wide market, but if you're able to, it's the greatest experience in terms of gaming. And I'm just literally happy to be part of it. Like, it's pretty crazy.
So you're going to be buying dual 4090s here just so you can play Cyberpunk
just maybe one,
graphics.
maybe one. But I'll wait till the next generation. But
always buy the generation below, I think.
It'll be fine.
Let me ask you guys a question. You guys have, I don't have a VR device. I don't really use them that much. Have you ever went to a sporting event? Is it worth it? I want to watch an NBA game from courtside, and I don't have $5K to send on the tickets. Is it cool to watch an NBA game on the VR device? Have you ever tried it?
I haven't.
Okay. Maybe that's what we should do. We should all get these headsets and go watch the Bulls, because that's my team. So we have to watch them lose.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what games. I know there are games available on there. I've not been to one. So
what about a Premier League game? Have you watched that?
No, because there's not the same kind of like VR immersion with it. I can watch it on like ESPN on it. I've watched sports on ESPN on the app on it, but it's not the same.
Not the same.
Well, at CES, I tested out a VR thing through PlayStation, and it was like a partnership with Man City, and like that was kind of amazing. There was a ton of like really immersive experiences, and you can like do replays. You could be like some of the players. And things like that. I mean, I don't know if that's like out yet, but that's something that they were like showing at CES that was like, what? So like you could like, because it has the like recording of like what actually happened in the game. So you can like be the person that like kicked the ball or into the goal and like things like that. It was really cool.
I think that's the next thing for sports, because if you can imagine, if you're a Premier League fan or an NFL fan, and you can see it from a different angle, that's what you want to see. Because like when you see some of these amazing goals, you always see it from top down. Mm-hmm. But how the goalie view, that would be amazing to see something like that. And you're like, oh, that's why he was tricked. He couldn't see the guy and the ball comes out of nowhere, you know, like,
right.
And how fast it comes and how fast it does. I think that'd be amazing.
That'll be cool if they make like small enough 360 cameras that they don't hinder the athlete, but all athletes have one. And so you could switch perspective from different athlete like throughout the game. That'll be insane.
Yeah, man.
Right.
Cool.
Yeah.
But they're also using like rendering and like taking these views and kind of seaming them together and trying to come up with a view. And so like I definitely think you can have a goalie view and top down view and
interesting. Yeah. I don't know. I've not, like I say, I've not really watched any of the immersive sports on them. They are there, but I've not. I don't know. I don't think they're free either. I think they're on behind a paywall. I think.
Okay. Yeah. Awesome.
Well, that's it for this week's episode of the Not Null Podcast. Thanks everybody for hanging out for this long. If you want to send us an email, you can. Where can they send that email to, Sarah?
The Not Null Podcast at AOL.com.
That is correct. notnullpodcast@aol.com. Send us an email and we'll read it out. Let me check real quick to see if we have any.
Come on, Greg. Come on, Greg.
Greg.
Let's see, because I did not check before this. So let's go see.
I think my husband had like dinner with him the other day, but I forgot to have him ask.
Oh, it says we have 2 unread. Hold on.
Spam and spam.
Greg, look at Greg. Let's see what Greg said.
Hold on. Let's see what Greg's saying. Okay, firstly, he says, I should say I listen to every episode, but often not the day it comes out. I often listen to 2-3 episodes stack and listen to them back to back.
All right. Thanks, Greg.
Yes.
We appreciate it. Hold on. Oh, this is a longer email.
Oh, my goodness.
It's called In Defense of the Blue Bubble. Okay.
Oh, yeah, he's a big
He's calling me out now. I thought we were friends, Greg. Come on now.
Greg. He says, what's up, everybody? First thing, Bobby using a QR reader app is the equivalent of someone typing google.com into the search bar and loading up the Google webpage in order to search something else. I actually chuckled out loud at that segment.
That's funny.
What about tiny URLs versus QR codes? Would you trust one more than the other? Good point. Or what's the better solution then? Okay. Main thought, though, is regarding blue bubbles versus green. It has nothing to do with the bubble color or elitism. I think we're on the same page there, Greg. The functionality of iMessage versus SMS is no comparison, as someone stuck in a dozen different family group messages with half iPhone and half Android. The experience of mixed platform with anything other than a very short message is terrible. Agreed. Anytime anyone sends a message more than 160 characters or wants to include an image or a GIF or meme or reaction, etc., the experience in a mixed message is awful. Should Apple and Google fix it? Absolutely, but they are unlikely to ever do so. This is already outdated now, Greg.
They're already.
Said that yesterday. You didn't know the news.
He hasn't seen the news. So in the meantime, when I get pulled into a group text with Android and iPhone users, I will go begrudgingly, not because I feel elite, but because I am not looking forward to the experience. And you may say just use a different app like WhatsApp or GroupMe or Telegram, but you say that just a few minutes after going on a rant about how dumb it is using third-party apps and QR codes and language translation and a dozen other things. Nobody wants to use third-party app when there's already one native on the device. Feel free to ignore any of my ramblings here. We will not ignore them, Greg. We will read them all. Just wanted to jump on the soapbox for a second. No, I like it. Good
Especially
points,
making fun of me, you know. I do learn stuff every day. I haven't uninstalled those QR apps. I have.
So, just so you know, on google.com, you don't have to type google.com in the search box. I like that. Okay, well, that's it. Greg, thanks for the emails. As always, much appreciated. You're welcome to email in any time with your, whatever you want to call them, soapbox opinions, but always welcome. So, yeah, cool. Good stuff. We'll be back again next week for another one of these. We'll catch everybody later.